Yes, sir. This is another match I was looking forward to. It wasn't in my top 4, but I knew this was going to be an absolute banger. The WWE Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way match. Finn Balor versus Penta versus Dominik Mysterio versus Braun Breaker. Yes, these 4 guys just went crazy, all-out action from the start. Penta eventually, in this match, he goes for a top rope. He goes for something where he goes flying over the top rope. I think he hit Dominik and Finn Balor. Correct me in the chats or in the comments if you're watching on demand if I was wrong. But yeah, he did some crazy move out of the ring there. There was some great action from start. At one point, Penta, he goes for a springboard only to get caught by Braun Breaker and Braun Breaker just slams him quickly to the canvas, almost like the world's strongest slam. Shout out to Mark Henry, all-time great. Pat McAfee on commentary, he then puts over Braun Breaker for being an absolute beast, and he is because when you look at this, man, the standing vertical double suplex that he did to Finn Balor and Dominik at the same time, I've never seen anybody do a vertical suplex. That means the strength, the balance that has to take to pull off and do that to both of them. Absolute freaking beast. Braun Breaker is such a pleasure to watch in the ring, man. And at one point, we get into the whole, every man for himself trope that you see in these matches when you have 2 teams that are in a triple threat or a fatal 4-way. So Finn Balor, he's hanging on the ropes because Dominik Mysterio actually takes advantage by drop kicking him into the ropes. And then he goes for the 619, only for Finn Balor to catch Dominik's feet, and then he sweeps him into the canvas and starts stumping a mud hole and walking and drive like Stone Cold Steve Austin. More about him later, my all-time favorite. Only to get then, he is put into the Penta driver, and Penta nearly gets the fall from there, the count, and it's broken up by Braun Breaker, which then leads to Braun and Penta just trading blows, and eventually he hits the Mexican Destroyer to Dominik Mysterio, and Carlito, he pulls them out, and he's being a nuisance through this whole entire match, and Carlito, he tries to go ahead and pull, I think it was Braun Breaker not Braun Breaker, he tries to put Penta through the announce table, but Braun Breaker. So the way this works, Braun, you got one announce table here and the other announce table here. This is where Penta and Carlito are. Braun Breaker gets on the announce table, runs across, jumps from one announce table to the other announce table, and manages to spear Carlito. And once they land on that announce table, the whole thing just implodes. I'm like, yo, this was an insane, crazy spot. The speed, the power of Braun Breaker, man. Just like I said, he's an absolute pleasure to watch out there in the ring. And then as we get into and even when that table spot happened, Michael Cole was screaming, he's like, Carlito is dead, and Pat McAfee was just jumping up and down and just like moving his arms and legs like he was going absolute crazy. It's no wonder why his commentary sounds good, because when you look at it, he really gets into the character. Often, and for those of you who are anime fans and stuff, well, you hear these dynamic performances of the voiceovers, but when you see the voice actors themselves, they're getting really high, energetic into the microphone. That comes across on the video. And that's what you hear Pat McAfee's passion, and when you see what he's doing physically while looking at the show, yeah, he's really into it, and it just helps the overall viewing experience for these commentators. So as we get to the ending sequence here, Dominik tries to hit Braun Breaker with the frog splash, but his legs are pulled right from under him, and he ends up crashing and burning into the turnbuckle, and he's just hanging there. And I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. So they take the action away from Dominik. Finn Balor, he then hits the sling blade and coup de grace to Braun Breaker. However, before he can get the pinfall, Dominik Mysterio recovers and lands the frog splash on both of them and pins Finn Balor 1, 2, 3 to become the new WWE Intercontinental Champion, and the audience there in Las Vegas erupts with excitement. And he then, to the point where I don't know if this was planned, but because Dominik's kind of like the sneaky heel, he says, screw it. Dominik runs right back down that long ramp, goes in the ring and gets on top and raises his hand with the Intercontinental Championship, and the audience is going crazy. He was my pick. I put him in the no DQ predictions lead. I did pick him in the no DQ predictions lead, and shout out to Earl, who was also saying Dom was going to win, Earl in the chat. And man, Dominik Mysterio, I can't tell you, I'm proud. Going back to when he first debuted at SummerSlam 5 years ago against Seth Rollins, you could tell right there, I'm like, the kid's got it. in the ring. And I'll admit, it did take him a while to really get comfortable on the microphone and find his character. But man, when he turned heel and he started hanging with the Judgment Day and Rhea Ripley, that brought out Dominik Mysterio's character work and just him knowing how to get the heel heat. And man, he became so far. It's clear that Dominik Mysterio went from being Rey Mysterio's kid to all around much better performer in WWE who, hey, it just so happens he's Rey Mysterio's kid. Him being the son of Rey Mysterio is now, it's secondary. You see Dominik Mysterio as his own man, and you can tell the audience respects him because people boo, but the booing has not been as loud. And I think that's because people truly have respect how far Dominik Mysterio has come and how hard he has worked to really come into his own. And I'm glad to see him get his Intercontinental Championship. Obviously, they're going to keep the story alive with him and his father on screen, but you got to imagine that back there Rey Mysterio was just happy and was giving his son a big old hug. Man, this is just amazing. For people that were doubting Dominik Mysterio years ago and thinking he wasn't going to be nothing, he's just there because he's Rey Mysterio's son. He has really come a long way. I'm so happy to see Dominik Mysterio just come into his own. He has really earned this opportunity to become Intercontinental Champion, and hey, I'm looking forward to where the story goes with him and Finn Balor now. And then when it comes to Braun Breaker, obviously this was a great way to protect Braun Breaker. He didn't take the pinfall, and I gotta believe Braun Breaker, Jacob Fatu, even freaking Owafemi and NXT, them guys are on the big things. And Penta, he's already doing some hot stuff right now. So yeah, and I gotta admit, at this point I was thinking like, man, night 2 of WrestleMania 41, as much as I thought night 1 was good, I thought night 2 was at this point blowing night 1 out the water. Just every match, boom, 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 just really hitting it, man. So overall, this was fantastic and a wonderful payoff and a nice career-defining moment for Dominik Mysterio. Earl says Dom finally turned on Balor. They were playing it up because when Dominik won, you see Finn Balor right there was basically just happy. He was happy for him. So I think they're going to do the slow build to build up more jealousy between Finn Balor, and eventually leads to Dominik Mysterio becoming a good guy. So I don't think it was a turn just yet. And you said you called it. Yep, that you did. You say craziest spear I have seen though through the table. Poor Carlito. Michael Cole said he thought Carlito was dead. Yep, I mentioned that. Yeah, Carlito, between that spear where Braun Breaker on Raw basically did a whole front flip on him, and to this one, man, yeah, Carlito's been really taking it the blunt of those spears. You say first time I have heard Dom get cheered from the crowd. Yeah, it's respect. You go out there, the audience, when they see that you have worked hard and you have organically gotten over with them, they give you respect, whether you're a face or heel. And I think that's really awesome to see. It had to be awesome for Dominik Mysterio as a performer. And then you say, I could see Dom turn on the Judgment Day and live and go by himself. Could be, yeah. It's interesting. We'll see where Dom and Liv go from here. So it's going to be interesting. Do they keep them together? They could probably keep them together. We'll see. See where it all goes. But yeah, this was definitely looking good here.